Welcome to In Pursuit. Everyone should be in pursuit of something. Join us in our discussions today with inspiring people who influence our lives and energize our understanding of what's possible. Stay in pursuit while we welcome our host, Robert Pascuzzi.
All right, Phil. So we're gonna start out with the listeners here. I want you to take them back 20, 25 years because your story is so intriguing and inspiring because you became a lifelong student of personal development and growth. And I really loved hearing your story when we first met about 3 years ago at a Bob Proctor seminar. Share with the listeners, if you would, a little bit about that journey.
So I was sort of looking for something. It's 20 years ago. I was looking for something. I wasn't real satisfied in my career. I had graduated from USC and really was trying to make my way in the film and TV industry. And I came across a book called You Were Born Rich that Bob Proctor had written. And I'm not even quite sure why. And I think I picked it up in an airport at the time. And it was just so inspiring and so amazing. And just how the universe works. I mean, we've talked about this before, but a guy that I was consulting for on at the time, he was trying to get a film made, and he had hired me as what's called a creative executive. And so what a creative executive does is that they basically read the scripts and give notes. It's almost like a glorified reader, if you will. Anyway, he had to leave our meeting, and he said, "Oh, well, I'm going to dinner with an author named Bob Proctor." And I said, "Wait, Bob Proctor? You know Bob Proctor, the guy that wrote You Were Born Rich?"
Right.
And the rest of it is history, because the guy was good friends. He put me on the phone with Bob, and I literally flew to Las Vegas to go meet him.
The next day, right?
The next day.
Right.
Yeah. And we spent a couple hours together, and I was hooked. I mean, and I've taken every course that Bob's ever done, and basically I go to his seminars, and he's coached me, and I do whatever he tells me to do, and I've been doing it for 20 years.
Oh, that's so awesome. What's the number one thing do you think you've learned from being around Bob and being coached by Bob? If you have to give the listeners one piece of advice.
That's a fantastic question. I think that the most important thing is to figure out what you want, know what you want, and then stick to that no matter what, no matter how much negativity is out there, no matter what people say, no matter what anybody who's close to you says that it can't be done. If you want it and it's humanly possible, you can do it. And that's the one thing that I've learned that has stuck with me for over these 20 years. Right.
Because you've actually had the results in your own life. You've won the Emmy, you've won the Oscar, so you know that it's possible, but it starts with the belief system. Wouldn't you agree?
You have to believe. It's all there really is. You have to know what you want, and you have to believe that you're going to get it. You're absolutely right, Robert. You have to believe. The belief is so important because if you don't believe, well, first of all, nobody else is going to believe it. But if you don't believe it, it's over. So you might as well hang it up right now. So you gotta know what you want, and you gotta believe, and you go after it until you get it. But you're right. I mean, I got the Oscar from that. I got the Emmy from that, and I'll play 1, 2 Tonys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so tell the listeners, how do you integrate your ideals and concepts that we're referring to here in your everyday life as a film producer, to bring those things into existence?
Oh, it's quite simple. So the first thing you do is you do gratitude every single morning. No matter what business you're in, no matter who you are, you do gratitude. What are you grateful for? And then from there, you maybe do an hour of studying. And when I say an hour of studying, I'm talking about different books or different programs or Procter Gallagher programs or your program. And you study for a good hour. At least I do. And so as a film producer, I'm sorry. So as a film producer, you are in the exact same boat as anybody else in any other business, except that you are creating a piece of art, if you will. So you have to believe in your piece of art. You have to know that you're making the greatest and best movie ever. And you're using your studies to stay in the vibration of creating this great piece of art. And so as a producer, you're doing the same thing that you'd be doing if you were a salesperson. You're going to go out, if you're going to sell something, you're going to go out and you're going to give the best sales presentation you've ever given before, and you're going to close the client. It's the exact same thing in the entertainment industry, in that you've got a product, which could be your movie, which could be a TV series, it could be a documentary, it could be a short form, and you've got to believe and know that this is the best product out there, and that you are going to sell it like you would sell anything. I hope I'm answering your question.
No, you are. I think what you're saying is
good.
It doesn't matter whether you're selling cars, you're selling real estate or whatever. It's the same philosophy on how you're doing things. And I know you're very disciplined.
It really is.
Phil, and that's one of the things I love about you. And I think, one of the things we connected on, and we studied together and we're accountability partners last year for 6 straight months, which we both really enjoyed. And I know having an accountability partner, Phil, somebody that you look up to, that you don't maybe want to disappoint, and that you're sharing your goals and your dreams with and your aspirations, and then being held accountable by that individual is, I know that's something that you do repeatedly year over year. Just share with the listeners, if you would, real quick, why that's so important to you to have an accountability partner.
Well, I think that it's so important just simply because you need to be accountable to somebody, because this is a way that you can achieve your goals. And so you know that you're going to get on the phone with those people at least every other day, if not every day, and you're going to tell those people what you plan to accomplish that day. And if you don't, the next day when you get on the phone, you have not held your accountability. And so you let those people down. At least in my mind, I feel that way. So that having accountability partners means that you are accountable, and you are going to do whatever you have to do, whatever you say you're going to do the morning that you get on the phone and say, I'm going to accomplish these 4 goals today. If you don't accomplish those 4 goals by tomorrow, you've got some explaining to do. And I think that it just keeps you so disciplined, and it forces you to use the will and really just be completely disciplined in terms of getting whatever it is that you say you're going to get done, you get it done.
And I know you have gotten a lot done, obviously, over the last 20 plus years in the film industry. Share with the listeners, what are you most proud of in creating in the entertainment industry, Phil?
I think that the thing that really gets me going is the fact that we're creating real lasting entertainment. People can watch this piece of art, if you will, over the next 100 years. And there's something extremely soul satisfying about being able to create a modern day piece of art that people can talk about forever and ever and ever. And it never goes away. And it's really satisfying. I mean, I can't tell you how satisfying it is when somebody comes up to you on a movie that you made 10 or 15 years ago and it still affects them today. It's very satisfying.
Well, I think Kelly and I got a piece of that with the Ravine that we produced fourth quarter last year. And I think I'm starting to understand what you're meaning, because it becomes, in a sense, it becomes a piece of your legacy. It's something that's going to live on forever. And that's really cool.
Your movie is very special in that your movie, is such a personal story. It's based on it's inspired by your book, by your novel, and you've got multiple pieces here that are going to last forever. So you've got a motion picture that's going to easily affect over 1 billion people. At least you and I keep saying that, so that we know it's going to affect 1 billion people.
Right on.
We know that it's a movie that's going to last forever. You know that people are going to come up to you over the next 20 or 25 years and say, wow, this movie was so amazing. It's still affecting me. And you also have a literary piece that goes along with it. So you've got a double bang for your buck in that you've got two pieces of art that are going to last forever.
Right.
And I think when people see the movie, everybody who's seen it so far just says, you know, they're just blown away by how great the movie is. So, you know, it's extremely soul satisfying. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It's, I mean, very, very excited to see what this is going to do. And for the listeners, The Ravine is an adaptation of a novel that I wrote with my wife, Kelly, called The Ravine. And it should be, we're in post-production, and we're getting close to the finish line, and the movie will be released either at the end of 2020 or probably early 2021. So stay tuned for more exciting information. Yeah. So regarding that, Phil, how, if any, I mean, I'm just curious to this because I never asked you this, but how is the Ravine project unique or different, if it is, from any other film you might have produced previously?
Well, the real truth is that every movie is different. Every movie is unique. One of the things that attracts people to the entertainment industry, and specifically the film business, is that you never work on the same project. Even if you're doing a sequel to a movie, it's not the same. Mm-hmm. You have a whole new crew, so a de facto family, and you're creating a brand new piece of art. Now yours is a really, elegant piece of art. Somebody else might be making a movie which they look at as a genre piece, but to them that might be their elegant piece of art. But right. So every movie is different. Every movie has a very unique place in the industry. And so with, I think the way you have to look at it is that every movie has its unique place, and so it's going to perform the way that it was meant to perform. If that makes any sense whatsoever, I'm probably just blabbering right now.
No, it totally does.
One of the reasons that everybody loves the film industry, at least I would say the majority of people who get into this industry, is that there's never a dull moment, and every day is different. And I think you probably found that you went to the set every single day, but every day you shot something different. Remember, every day right. you were using a different actor. Maybe you use the same actor, but in a different scene. There's nothing ever the same. And then you move on to your next movie, and it's a completely different film. So one time you're doing The Ravine, which is this elegant drama, and the next one you might be doing a science fiction piece.
Right. Yeah, and so that's so true, because every day is different, and you're capturing something new with different actors and different sets, and so yes, it was a very, very gratifying experience, and one that opened my eyes to what it takes to get a movie finished. So I have a newfound gratitude for that and respect.
I mean, it's just right. It's just amazing, isn't it? It's it takes. Literally, it takes hundreds of people on every single film.
Right.
And so there's so many moving parts, which again makes the film business so much fun, because it's every day is different and something new, and just every aspect of filmmaking is completely different. So post-production is completely different from production, which is completely different from pre-production, which is completely different from writing a script and development, right? Everything is different. So it's just exciting and fun. So there's never a dull moment. And I think that's why you find people who are producers basically produce until their last day on earth. Literally, they are
because they love what they do. Because I know you attack the day.
It's so fun.
Yeah, you have a philosophy of attacking every day. I know that from just being around you. But do you really? I know the answer to this, but tell the listeners: do you even consider it work?
Boy, that's a great question, Robert. I would say the majority of the time, no. The majority of the time, it's just fun, and I just love it, and this is what I've always wanted to do with my life. But there are moments, which we all have that, can be difficult. There's obstacles that you have to overcome, but I'm sure that's every business.
Right.
As you were saying, it's probably real estate and, selling cars. But for the most part, it's not work. It's a labor of love.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah. I mean, there's the nuts and the bolts that you go through every day, things that have to be done to get you to the finish line.
And things happen.
Yeah.
And things happen all the time, but basically there are obstacles and you jump over them.
Right.
Or you go through them. Well, for you go through them. But
you figure it out. That's
You're
the
amazing
thing.
in that way.
Okay.
You are amazing in that way.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, I want to end on one of your passions with a question about something I know you're really, really dedicated to, swimming, because I know you have an obsession. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to say you. You're my obsession.
Well, that too. Thank you. We don't need to get into that now, though, Phil. But
okay, what do you want to know about swimming?
Well, I know you have an obsession with swimming, and you go all in on stuff, and that's what I love about you is when you decide to do something, you go all in, and you're 100% committed. Regarding swimming, tell the listeners about your journey with swimming and what you've accomplished.
So once again, it comes from studying Bob Proctor, and so you need to tell him what you want, and he'll tell you how to do it. And so one of the things that I wanted was to lose weight, and so I had taken my son to a swim class at Santa Monica City College, and the swim coach who was there saw me swimming in some laps, and she said, you should really join the college swim team. And I go, I don't join the college swim team. I mean, I've been out of college for, I'll admit, to 20 years. And she started laughing, and she said, no, you can just join the swim team. She said, you're a strong enough swimmer. So I ended up just getting completely, as you say, obsessed with the sport. And I lost a lot of weight, and I decided that, okay, you know what? I really want to start winning some competition, and I really want to win a world record. And so I got super serious, and I changed my nutrition. I hired an extra swim coach, as well as still be on the college team. And basically I swim. Well, I was swimming 6 days a week and doing weights until the pandemic. And so then I was swimming in the ocean 6 days a week until we got semi-arrested.
You got kicked out, yeah.
Yeah, can't do that. So now what we've done is that the entire team has basically switched off to dryland training, but dryland training that is very specific to swimming and running. And then, just because of my obsession with the sport, there is a website I found called Swimply, which I highly recommend. Basically, these are people who will rent out their private swimming pools by the hour. So I actually found somebody in Los Angeles who built a half Olympic pool to total specifications in his backyard, and I've now been renting out his pool and basically swimming every day. So I figured that one out.
I knew you would.
You're right. I am obsessed.
You found a way. That's what I love. We find a way. If we have enough reasons why, we're going to find a way. Now, Phil, one thing that you said I've got to go back to. You went from I started taking some lessons and getting interested, and then all of a sudden to I want to win a world record. Most people, the majority of people, don't think that way. They don't go from I'm taking lessons to all of a sudden I'm going to win a world record. Tell me how that happens, and let's talk together about the law of attraction and manifestation, and touch on that, because we're going to talk about the Ravine and how it applies to this, because the law of attraction has been alive and well on the Ravine project, as you know. But tell us also about how you visualize, because this is so important for the listeners.
Okay, so in terms of the swimming example, I always want to be better, and I just always want to get better. And so when I was swimming, after I lost all the weight and was able to swim with the team, I just thought, what's next? And the thing that was next that was natural is to start racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I started racing, and there were a lot of Olympians at the races I was going to, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool to break a record and beat the Olympians? And so that's how that came about. But again, you sort of just visualize as you're going. And so once again, what do you want? So if this is what you want, then great. And then you keep asking yourself, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want?
And allow your mind to go there. But you allow your mind to go there because you know it's possible.
I basically just say everything is possible. Anything that's humanly possible is possible. Anything. You can be, do, have anything that you want. I believe that. I know, Robert, you believe that. I know Kelly believes that. Basically, anything you want, you can have. But what do you want? You just have to make that decision.
That's right. You've got to make the decision. And I think we have both worked on doing the illogical. And Bob talks about this, Bob Proctor, that we get so hung up with paradigms, which are basically a collection of habits that control our behavior, that we do the logical. This is what I think I can do based on these factors, what I can see here, this is hit. But what we've learned, I think, through studying together over the last couple of years is where all the juice and everything we want out there, that it's the big stuff, is you have to go and you have to actually do the illogical to get the big stuff. And I know you agree with that.
I totally agree with it. I mean, I think you and I are now advanced where we don't even think that way anymore. Other people might think it's illogical. We just think, yeah, we can do it. I know that for you for a fact because I see what you've done with the movies. You've come from nothing all of a sudden to having an elegant piece of art.
Mm-hmm. With your help, by the way. So big help.
Thank you.
From Bill. Hey, Phil, talk about that, because we put it out there in our study every morning. We started telling each other that the Ravine was going to impact 1 billion people worldwide. And I believe that. I know Kelly believes it. I know you believe it. And we have spoken it. And to me, there's something about, thinking it, but when you speak it and you put it out there for the world to see, to me, then that means that you've dug your ditches. You're all in, because you're putting it out there for everybody to hear. But the beauty of it, what I've come to believe, and you can share your thoughts on this, is that when you're bold in that respect and you put it out there because you believe so much in it in your heart, it's already done, that it's just a matter of time and it's going to happen.
Right. You're perfectly said. I totally agree. I mean, basically, it's like you put it out there, it's going to happen. You never question it. You never go back. You basically just say, this is what I'm doing.
You only see the end result. You only see what you want. And the obstacles fall because you only see the objective, right? And that's all we're seeing right now, listeners, is the Ravine is going to go worldwide. Now, Phil, Matt Jensen, my sidekick here, he's chomping at the bit. He wants to ask you a question. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, Phil, because I'm pretty new to the film industry. I'd say I've been working on various projects, but when I came out to Hollywood and I met you for the first time at Universal Studios, that was a really inspiring time for me as a young aspiring film producer to come out and say who is this Phil guy, and I just had this urgency to come and meet you, and you kind of gave me that time, the time of day to come even meet you for 15 minutes. And so I just wanted to ask you what advice you have for some of our younger listeners who have found a newly formed passion in the film industry, figuring out what they want. Because when we had talked and sat down there for 15 minutes, you had said, right from when I was a kid, I knew exactly I wanted to be a producer. Yeah, but when I, got to set and I worked on the Ravine, I had so much fun just learning in the camera department. I after that moved to New Orleans and I started working on all sorts of different sets, doing locations, production assistant. How do you figure out what you want as a young aspiring person in the film industry?
I mean, I think only you can answer that question. I mean, as I told you when you and I met, I knew that I wanted to be, first I thought I wanted to be an actor, but I quickly learned, and this was about in the age of 16, now I want to be behind the scenes. I want to be the producer. And so I knew it. I never had a desire to be in the camera department as you did, but you did an excellent job, obviously.
Thanks for having me on the
But I think that you need to decide what what it is that you really want to do. Because there's so many things that you can do. You can be the greatest location manager ever and find locations that nobody's ever found before that blow directors away, and you'd be a legendary location manager if that's what you want. But you may want to be a writer, but then you should be writing. You might want to be the director, but then you got to like work for a director, and then you got to say, okay, how do I find a project that I want to direct? Or you might want to be a producer, but you need to decide that. Nobody can really tell you that. All they can really tell you is, here's what the camera department does, here's what the grip department does, here's what the makeup department does, here's what the hair department does, and so on. So my advice is figure out what you want, because trust me, you know what you want, Matt. You know, everybody knows what they want. Okay. So you know what you want. And now once you know what you want and you know it, then you basically stick to that. And this is your goal, your passion, your obsession for the next 10 years.
That's Matt, awesome. Just keep doing what you're doing, Matt. Keep doing what you're doing.
Basically.
And it's going to come. Yeah. But it comes through experience,
and that's for
right?
everybody.
Yeah, you're going to try things.
For everybody. I mean, you got to figure out what you want.
Yeah, it'll start moving to you. Just continue to see in your mind what you want, and it's going to happen. All right, Phil. Our other sidekick here is chomping at the bit. Alec Pascuzzi. He's got a question for you as well, and then we're going to let you go. So, hey, Alec, take it away. Here he is. Boom.
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
Hi, Alec. Good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you. So, like, obviously, when I was on set for my dad's movie, you know, I saw you in action as the producer. Like, I guess my question is, like, what is, like, your favorite thing to do as a producer? Like, your favorite part of the job?
Oh, good question.
Well, on your dad's movie was probably playing practical jokes on your mom and dad.
I knew that was coming.
But on movies, it's really about being the lead conductor, if you will. So making sure that the producer that I hire to be on the set and the director and the actors are all doing their various jobs and making sure that we have the piece of art, I say in quotation marks, that we want. And that's my favorite part of the job, is basically being a master conductor. And that, by the way, Alex, that job starts on day one of writing the script.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
that's probably my favorite part.
We had a blast.
Yeah, we did pirate.
Alec, good question.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. I was just curious on that.
Sure.
All right, Phil. I think we've taken all your time we're going to take, and we want to thank you again, listeners. You were listening to Phil Goldfine here on In Pursuit. And Phil, thanks again for being on with us. It was a lot of fun.
Pleasure. That was fun.
And for all you listeners, continue to join us here on In Pursuit as we bring inspiring people onto the show that are making it happen in every walk of life, just like Phil Goldfine. So, Phil, have a great weekend, and we will be in touch soon.
Yeah, you guys do.
Okay, thanks so much.
Bye.
Phil. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to In Pursuit with your host, Robert Pascuzzi. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, everybody should be in pursuit of something.